3, 2, 1. Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Plant protein's the real deal.
Are you liking it?
Yeah.
Good.
Every time. No upset stomach
Cool.
at all. It's
Cool.
kind of crazy.
The only thing that's negative is just like it doesn't blend, as easy or like the chalkier taste. But I don't know. It's like, what are you having it for?
Well, right. Yeah. I don't
You know.
mind like protein taste, so I don't know, it's fine for me, but I don't know. I haven't noticed like a blending issue at all.
Well, do
I
you
noticed a
only
little bit
blend it? Like, have you just like shaken it?
Yeah.
Oh, have you really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it is a little bit chalkier, but I don't know. It's like I'll take chalky over upset stomach every time you have it.
Yeah, because I also don't really like the taste of regular like whey protein either. I think I've said that the last time we talked about this. So it's kind of just like, oh, it's just another taste that it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think you can somewhat do a good job of masking it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting it in smoothies or something like that, so you don't have to just mix it with milk or water and drink it that way. It's like if you really don't like the taste, you've probably already found ways to kind of mask the taste anyways.
Sure.
Now, if it's like you get an upset stomach from the whey protein, I would say go to plant because that's what's allowed me to have it. And it's like it's still the one that we get's 20 grams of protein for one scoop. So it's like really not that much difference. It's maybe a little bit less. I think the typical ones are like 24 or 25 with whey protein. But, I mean, it's not like it's 10 and you're spending a boatload of money to get half the amount of protein or something. Like, it's pretty much the same deal. So, yeah, it's really worked for me.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that I've been not trying to convince you, because I also I don't know, I didn't really think, but when the last time I did do plant protein, I liked it so much, but I was just like, oh, it just probably isn't as good or isn't the same.
Yeah.
But kind of always having that in the back of my head, like, yeah, but you really liked it and you liked how it felt.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they talk about too, is like you say you're doing the whey protein and you're hearing all the studies about how it's just absorbs better. You get more out of the actual absorption of the protein and less of it goes to waste and all that kind of stuff. But you're taking it and your stomach's upset all the time. It's like, well, maybe your body just doesn't digest it that well anyways, that you're not actually getting more from it to where you do the plant protein and no upset stomach, no digestive issues with it. Like everything is perfectly fine, that my body's probably reacting to that way better and utilizing those proteins better than it was the whey. Something with the whey just was not, whether it's the dairy or whatever it is, it's like just not working with me. So if it's not working with your system, don't continue to waste your money on something that's not doing well for you.
Yeah.
Like, just switch it to something else or get rid of it and your body will probably function better being off it. So what we've discovered with like the electrolyte mixes and stuff, it's like you respond really well to them. Me, I just get weird. It's like
sure,
whatever my makeup is with the electrolytes, whether I just need less or I don't know, something with it. It's like it upsets my stomach. I have weird digestion. Like I don't notice the energy levels being better or anything like that. Like it makes my body seem to feel worse.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, clearly something with this is not working. So just because they say it's good doesn't mean it's working well with you. It's like you got to figure something else out.
Well, and I should look that up. What is all of the purposes for adding salt to the electrolyte mix? Like, does it still work if I just do the magnesium and potassium, or is the sodium? Because like the magnesium and potassium have to work together to basically like activate each other. I'm pretty sure the last time, like when I did originally look into it, but I wonder if the sodium has a crucial part, because on times or like on the weekends where I know we're going to be eating from restaurants and they probably really salt stuff, I don't do the salt in the mix.
Yeah.
Because I just figured I'm probably getting a decent amount of sodium just with the processed foods. But I should look into that though, if I should still should keep it in, because does that work with the potassium or magnesium?
Yeah.
you know?
I'm not sure. Well, they talk about that with amino acids too, like the branch chain amino acid mixes and stuff like that. There's more research coming out about like you need all of the amino acids, or it's better to have all of them because of like what you're talking about. They charge each other, they activate each other to help you in different ways, whether it's like hydration or cellular function, all that kind of random shit. That like just taking branch chain to where I think that's only like 4 or 6 of the amino acids that you're taking, something like that. You're not getting as much out of it as if you were to take all of the amino acids at once. And now that market's starting to pick up a little bit more of like making sure you're taking all of them at once because you get all of these other added benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that weird. That's what's so weird about some of this stuff is like, I think the more that you start to learn about it and go deeper into things, like it obviously becomes more complicated, but it becomes more frustrating because it's like, oh, I've heard this is good for me, I should take it. And you start taking it. And then you learn later on, it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. It's like the turmeric and black pepper thing. Like they talked about that for having a healthy gut biome of take turmeric, but take black pepper. Take black pepper with it because it's supposed to like help your gut biome. But now people are saying, well, don't take the black pepper because it just runs through your system to where you want the turmeric to coat the gut.
Right.
So it's like we're being told take black pepper with it because it helps, reset your gut biome or whatever. But now we're learning like, oh, don't do that. Just do the turmeric because we want the coating.
We don't want the flushing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's like even just something so stupid or simple of like, if you take black pepper with turmeric, it does a completely different thing than if you just take turmeric. And it's like, what, kind of like we were talking about with the sodium, magnesium, and potassium. It's like, okay, so if I take one other component with this, could it change everything completely? It's like you're taking your electrolyte mixed drink, but then you typically pair it with something else that you have. Maybe you take it with creatine or something too. It's like, well, that mixture could do something totally different that you don't know about. It's like, it's just hard when you get further and further into it of like, you start to figure out these things. You're like, oh, I've wasted my money the last 5 years taking branch chain amino acids when it's like, we're actually supposed to take all of them.
Sure.
It's like, but that's, I don't know, that's also just part of science. It's evolving and always more is coming. So you learn more, but yeah, it's weird.
It does kind of make you feel like, oh, I'm never going to know the right thing sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Well, and that's why I think like just dial into what you're feeling.
Sure.
So it's like, everybody's telling me whey protein's the best. I got to take whey protein. And then you start doing it. It's like, this ruins my gut every single time. It's
well,
like,
and
listen to that.
Helpful to know like what signs are your body showing you. Like I feel like I was noticing like with the electrolytes, like I would have an electrolyte mix and drastically feel the difference in my energy. And so I was like, okay, well, what are some of the signs of like dehydration or lack of electrolytes? Cause like I drink a lot of water, but am I really like replenishing my hydration levels, or what am I, we live in Florida, like sweating a lot, or what we eat. Like we don't have a lot of salt in our diet. That was like, okay, well maybe that would work for me, to where someone else that doesn't eat that way or whatever, maybe it would not serve them well and it would just kind of be an added supplement that wouldn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, that's what they talk about with eating clean. It's like, the processed food that we typically eat has a lot of sodium in it. And most people that eat a highly processed food diet don't need to increase sodium. Like they already have too much of it, and that's somewhat of the problem. But then if you go super duper clean, now you don't have enough sodium. And that's something that's going to help, hydration and cellular function and those things that you're wanting, to where now it's like, oh shit, I changed my whole diet and now it's healthy, but I'm still missing out on this thing over here. So now you got to figure out how to bring that in and do that correctly.
That's something that we talk about. And I wonder if the processed food label also is the same, where people say, like they'll be explaining to us, I don't know, like I think we get involved in a lot of like health conversations or fitness conversations, which I like. That's an interest of mine.
Yeah,
So I love
same.
when I get in those conversations. But a lot of people say like, well, I eat healthy. And I don't think people know even what being like eating healthy can look like or should look like even, or where they are not eating healthy. I feel like the processed food label is also the same. Like people think, well, I don't eat, fast food every day, so I don't eat processed. Like not even down to the nitty gritty of, what we're figuring out even with the rice and what rice is sprayed with and all the different folic acid that's put on everything. It's like, well, we're making the pasta at home.
Right.
We're making tortillas. We're making the bread. We're making all these things that we're not buying the processed version of it. But then even the flour that we're getting is covered in folic acid, which is also not great. But it's like, I wonder if people just correlate, well, I cook at home most of the time, so I don't eat processed foods.
Right.
And then they're like, why do I have all of these autoimmune issues? Why do I have these behavioral issues? Why do I have this weight issue? Why do I have acne or hair loss or
gut issues?
Yeah, like
digestive issues.
The whole bandwagon of everything that is ever wrong with humans. Like, I wonder if it's because I would say I used to be like that as well. Like, well, we don't eat processed. Like, we almost never eat out to eat unless we are, traveling, or it's a one-off every once in a while. But still, like, okay, then why do you have gut problems? Why are you bloated all the time? Why do you hold on to water or water weight? It's like, well, because like, you got to break it down so granular.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, we talk about all the time, like everybody has their blind spots. It's like you think that, oh, I eat healthy and I'm doing well, and and that could be a blind spot of mine as well. Is like I feel like I do eat healthy, and then okay, well, why does this thing pop up then, or why do I have this issue or that? And you have to you have to dial in so deep and like really analyze every single thing you're putting in your body, to where like we're going crazy about water now. It's like just our water sucks, and it's like you want to talk about hydration and everything. That's kind of why we've started to try to figure out the electrolyte thing. Is it's like the best water that you can get isn't just having a Brita and filtering through it. Right. It's like that's like base level 1. Like, don't drink the tap water, put it in a Brita. Okay, that's step 1. And now there's how many other steps after that of making that water not just like a flushing thing or just like waste, basically.
Right.
That's something that we've just started to figure out a little bit more, start to learn more about. And, we've talked about it on here too, of like, we used to think carbohydrates worked for us. And just we were different, or we just maybe because we ate majority healthy, the carbohydrates actually fueled us and was better to go into workouts and do that sort of thing. But then we're still kind of having a little weird digestive issues sometimes, or
even the carbs that we were having, again, going back to just that, well, it's homemade.
Yeah, it's
conversation.
Rice,
it's like it's rice, or we're literally like making the dough for the pasta and putting it through the machine, and like we're doing all of that, but it's still the same ingredients.
Yeah, well, it's less. Like, it doesn't have, you go get bread at the grocery store versus making it at home. You're having way less ingredients with that, but it's still like the flour that we're using. We're just learning about this now, of like how many of our grains are sprayed with this folic acid stuff that 40 to 60% of people can't properly digest folic acid. So it's like, well, we're probably definitely part of that group, because I know I have issues when I have bread, have pasta, have whatever, have rice even, that it's like, okay, well, I don't think it's always just completely cut it all out. But what we like to do is, well, we really like to have rice, and we like to have bread, or we like to have this. So how can we find a way to make these things or have these things where it's not messing us up? It's like, well, what we're learning is you maybe have to get organic then. That's not sprayed with it. And then even trying that, it's like, well, not everything is completely truthful, you know, so you get an organic flour and then you start making bread with that and it's still giving you digestive issues. It's like, well, it's either the flour is still contaminated in some way or it really just doesn't work for you. But I think we're always trying to find a way to, like, we want to have those things, so we're always trying to find a way to make it work. But
and even that, like, limiting how much we have that.
Right. Because,
you know, it's an every once in a while thing now, not
well, and
daily.
look at that. I mean, for a while, like, at least for me, it was like I would have, you know, not just this, but at breakfast, I'd probably have a piece of toast with whatever else I was having. For lunch, probably rice with something. And for dinner, it's like
rice
maybe
again.
a pasta or rice again. So it's like every single meal, I'm having these carbohydrates. And not only is it the carbohydrates, but it's the carbohydrates that have all this folic acid and contaminants in it, because our crops are just sprayed with so much shit that, oh, I think I'm being healthy because I'm making it at home, and I know what I'm making it with, but you're not even looking at the ingredient of how was this processed and how was this made. So figuring that out and going, oh shoot, I'm getting digestive issues from this thing that I thought I was totally okay with, and then, oh, okay, now I got to change this and do something else about it. But it's like you have to, a lot of the times you're going to have to go after the thing that you hold so dearly onto. It's like, I don't want to give up carbs. I love them. And I start to make up these stories of how it actually is better for me or it fuels me or whatever, rather than being honest with myself of, maybe that is the issue. And then you go and try and get off of it for a little while and you notice how much better you feel and you don't have gut problems. You don't have bowel movement issues, or you're sleeping better throughout the night and not having to get up to pee, 5 times. And I think we just start to go like, oh, that's just me. It's just my body. I just get up and pee 5 times every night. And it's like, well, no, that's not really how it should be. It's like you're probably having a giant bowl of rice at night and it's getting broken down into sugars, and now you're trying to piss the sugars out, and now you're getting up 5 times. It's like, that's not just you. It's what you're putting into your body and how your body's processing it. And you can choose to not have those issues. You just have to figure it out. And sometimes to figure it out, it's like, it's the blind spot.
Yeah.
It's the spot that you think, oh, that's secure. That's fine. I don't have to worry about that. Let me look over here instead. And you typically go to the same things, oh, maybe I'm not working out enough, or maybe I'm drinking too much water or not enough water or whatever. Where it's like, nah, dude, it's carbohydrates, and you just don't want to admit it.
Well, and I think fortunately for most Americans, it doesn't get down to that nitty gritty yet. Like, I think most people just need to cut out the very large, obvious ones and figure out, like, tally up how many things in a day that are not benefiting you, and then seeing how much all of that accumulates to, like,
that's a really good idea.
it's like you start with your coffee in the morning. It's like, okay, well, do you put cream in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's calories there.
Yeah.
Do you,
and probably a lot of
and
sugar.
Is it like a sugary one, or
caramel flavored?
You don't know, even like, okay, the oils, even if it's not a flavored one, it's just cream, like what oils are in there, what sugar is still within that because of the processing or because it needs to last in your fridge. Like, okay, so that's now a drink, and any drink that you have sugar in is worse than food, because your body's just like, oh, I'll just absorb it, and you're not digesting anything.
No
it's like
breakdown.
What they say about juices.
Yeah.
It's like there's no breaking down.
There's no fiber in it, so your body's not breaking it down to utilize it. It's just like pumping sugar into your bloodstream kind of thing.
That's like my new crazy thing right now is when I see people drink like sugary things, or not even sugar, like not obvious sugar things, but just like, I don't know, like, just anything that is a drink that is not water or just plain coffee or whatever. I know there's sugar in it. I'm like,
you know what you know what I saw a clip of Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny? You know how he got like super fat for for a season or 2 seasons or whatever? He said he used to take a gallon of ice cream, set it out on the counter, and then at the end of the day it would all be melted. No. And he would just drink it. Yeah.
Could you imagine what's that doing?
He's like, there's no way I could eat a gallon of ice cream, but I can drink it. And it's like, that's so true with all of those things. It's like, it's so much easier to drink your calories. You know, it's like, I like my smoothies, but I know every time I'm blending up that banana or I'm blending up like the blueberries or something, it's like, well, there's no, like, you're literally breaking down the fiber of the fruit.
Right.
And now you're drinking it to where it's like, this is just a fucking sugar shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this. And it's like, that's one of those things that I should look at, because I seem to have this little afternoon crash type of deal going on.
Yep.
And it's always, I tend to have the same things every day. That's like, okay, maybe stop blending the banana, because it's just, you're just having a sugar shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that just like irks me now. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm mad at people. It's just like, I would get I would get weird about that with myself. Of like, I would just be thinking about it the whole time I'm drinking it. Like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good.
Yeah.
But, what was I saying? But yeah, like tallying up the day. If you're like, I don't understand why I'm having the crash. I don't understand why my energy is low. I don't understand why I can't lose weight. I don't understand why, you know, I have gut issues, or my skin sucks, or I can't sleep that well. Like all of the symptoms, I guess, of not being healthy.
The typical ones, yeah.
The typical ones, like that is where I would start. If all of this, like us talking about the water, that's just like, oh, that sounds so stressful, I won't even do it because it just seems too much. Yeah. Like that, to me, I'm going back to like, let's go back to the basics. Yeah. We like to get into the nitty gritty of it because it's just an interest for us. But I think for everybody else, like just going back to the basics, like when I have conversations with some of the people that are not into fitness at all or into this world, I get reminded of just like, oh, just go and do 20 minutes of body weight exercises. Mm-hmm. Just look at what you eat in a day and try to just understand what you're eating, understand where all of this is coming from. It's like, I think we could take a big chunk of that silliness out and you would see a great difference just within that. Like, I don't think it's too, I think most people's issues, what word am I looking for? Like, they're not unique, but they're not like super complex where it was like, oh, it was because I was super low in this vitamin and then I upped that in a supplement and everything changed.
Well, and that's where
it's like, oh, I wasn't drinking ozone water. That saved my life. Like, that was the change. Like, no. Yeah. A lot of us are so much farther away from getting to that yet. Yeah. Like, there's so much other cheaper day-to-day stuff that you can do that will change all those things that you're talking about and feeling and complaining about. And
yeah. Well, it's like with this folic acid stuff, and where we've been hearing about is Gary Brecka, and he helped Dana White lose a bunch of weight. And I think what gets just glossed over so much is like, he had Dana go on a ketogenic diet and then start exercising. It's like, but everybody wants to talk about the folic acid and how you need to get this specific B vitamin complex, and you know, you got to do all this methylating like things going on.
And cold plunge and breath work and be out in the sun for 10 minutes every day, which is also
red light therapy and all this shit. And it's like, everybody wants to do all of the other things besides the meat of it, which was like, he went on a ketogenic diet and started exercising. He was eating a ton of processed food and wasn't exercising. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's the bread and butter of it. Right. That is where most of the work probably came from. And then it's these other things that we need to address and deal with. But if you're eating a ton of processed food, you're having no activity throughout the days, and then you're going to start worrying about your electrolyte intake. It's like, you haven't done step one yet. Yeah. And step one is the hardest one. Yeah. So I get why you're trying to avoid it, but you have to do those things first. You can't just like get a fucking B vitamin and now everything's going to change. It's like you still eat a ton of processed food. You don't exercise. Nothing's going to change. You're trying to do all the easy things and the little things before you do the main thing that's going to help you.
Yeah.
So I think that's where
those are like the bulk. Like that's like the bulk of where your benefit could come from.
And I think like, I don't know. It's just like, it's fun to hear something new about that stuff because it's like, oh, I never heard of that. And I never thought about that. And maybe that's, maybe that's my issue, or maybe that's something that I should really look at and start to do or figure out. And it's like, you have to make sure you're doing the main things first. I think those things are so attractive because they're new and they're exciting and whatever. But
well, and they also, a lot of those things don't require physical effort or work or like sacrifice.
Yeah, it's like take a B vitamin and your life will change. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna do it.
Well, because even that, like he talks about, the simple things that you can do. It's like, sure, you can get a cold plunge in your house. You can get a sauna put in your house. You can get like his bathroom. He has a huge cold plunge right next to the sauna that has a red light panel in it. It's like, he's like, yeah, I am paying for the convenience of this, but I easily could take a cold shower. I could go outside in the sun and I could do my breath work. Like, those are all free, but I have to do it. They're time consuming, or just like I have to make an extra effort versus just walking to the bathroom and taking 30 minutes to like do a run through all of these. Yeah. It's like, but most of us, we don't want to do that or take the time or the effort that that's just like, you don't even worry about all those little things. Like just look at what you're eating and do some freaking exercise.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where you brought up a really good kind of tool to use is like kind of looking at your food of, is this benefiting me? Mm-hmm. Then really noticing and realizing how many things are not benefiting you that you're eating or doing. Yeah. So it's like, I'm doing that with milk and yogurt now. I'm like, these are just not beneficial to me anymore because of how processed they are. That's like, what's good about dairy is the bacteria in it. The healthy bacteria for your gut. Well, they're completely killing all of that. And that's what you buy milk at the grocery store. And that's where you buy yogurt at the grocery store. It's like, so now I'm just like putting unnecessary calories in, making
like
my body digest it.
Like the amount of sugar that's just in milk.
Right. And you're not even getting the balance of the healthy bacteria
and the enzymes to break it down.
It's all just completely killed and taken out because of the fear of somebody getting sick and whatever. So it's like, I'm just done doing milk and yogurt because it's in a way pointless. You've taken all of the good stuff out of it. So now I'm just having more calories for what reason? And I'm putting more stress on my body to digest and break that stuff down. It's like, it's not worth it.
Well, I think that's even, a part of the issue is it's the wrong kind of stress. Like your body needs the stress of the digesting and the breaking it down and figuring out like what it needs to strip from it. It's like, that is almost like your body is putting in the work for the calories it's getting. Like it's using it as fuel versus like what I say with the drinks. It's like, you're just like flushing it. You're taking it in, it's taking the sugar, but it's not, it's like your body wants to work and process these things and break them down, but then you're like, well, no, it's okay. Just go and walk on the treadmill.
Well, and you're not balancing it with anything good. Yeah. It's like, if you're going to have, something with a lot of sugar, it should have a decent amount of fiber as well. Mm-hmm. But that's just not how we're eating or drinking a lot of the time, with it being super processed, or I don't know how I am supposed to focus with you. I'm so sorry. Doing that over
I'm sorry.
there.
I'm sorry.
But I think that the other negative, or the other thing to watch out for is you you also can't just look at it and go, you know, is this benefiting me? Because now you're completely negating, well, it might be doing negative things to me too. Because if you go, well, it's not going to benefit me, but that's fine. It's like, well, it could be damaging or it could be hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to look at that point of it too, because, you know, people you talk about it all the time of like, they're like, oh, I just had this one thing. And you start to add those things up and it's like, you're having just that one thing every single day. And then you're wondering why you can't get to where you want to get to. It's like, well, because you keep just going, oh, it's just one thing. Like, I just had syrup that one day. And then the next day it's like, oh, I just had like jelly the next day. That's fine. And then I just had this and then that. And, oh yeah, I guess I had, you know, pasta the one night and I maybe shouldn't do that, but that's not like, it was just one night.
Or I went out and I had a margarita, or I had a beer. I had something that was sugar in it, but it's like, it was only that one Friday night that we went to go get a drink.
And then you look back at your week and it's like, well, I had a bunch of syrup the one day. I had, you know, piece of toast and jelly the next day. And then I had a big bowl of pasta the third day. And then I had a margarita and whatever. And it's like your whole week, you're having shitty foods.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just that one thing. And those things are having a negative impact on you. You have to analyze every single thing you're putting into your body and going, is this going to negatively impact me or benefit me? And majority of what you're putting in should be benefiting you. And then you should also be very critical of, is it really benefiting you? Because it's just like what I was doing with carbs. Well, I'm utilizing this for workouts and, you know, I tend to be pretty active, so I need the carbohydrates to burn. But it's like, you can live with having 0 carbs. So you don't ever need them. That's not a thing you need. So you're just kind of making shit up. Well, you get plenty of
carbs with other things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like, even just have fruit.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah. But a banana has like, what is it, like 30 grams?
I don't think it's quite that much. I think it's like 20 or something.
Okay.
But...
Which...
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. But it's just like, you have to be super honest with yourself. And that can be difficult to do because it's like, you really just want to have rice. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have to come up with a new meal to make. It's like, that's where it comes down to. Or you really just want to be able to have a margarita and feel fine about it. So you say, oh, it's just that one thing. It's like, well, when you had just that one thing every day of the week and maybe twice a week or 2 times a day type of thing, you can't start to go like, oh, I just don't understand why I can't get to where I want to go. It's like, well, because you're not being honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not really being critical and looking at your blind spots and trying to figure out, okay, this is not benefiting me and I'm lying to myself about it. Like jelly, it's not good for you. It doesn't matter if it's organic. It doesn't matter if it's real berries or this or that. It's like, it's not good for you.
Right.
So stop acting like it is.
Well, and that's where I think those are the silly blind spots of like, you're just not thinking deeply enough at this. Like when we were at the restaurant the other day, I was looking at like what I was eating and I was like, okay, we got alcohol, which also just like isn't great for being poison, but like I just got tequila and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to do a margarita or, you know, it's like what other people are drinking. I will just do the tequila. But even then I'm looking at the chips and salsa. It's like, okay, well, the chips are obviously bad, but I'm like, okay, well, there's probably sugar in the salsa because
of course
I've tried to make it. It's not like that's just what it turns out to taste like or be. And then I got a poke bowl. It's like, okay, well, these are all just literal raw vegetables with a couple scoops of rice. But then I'm like, well, but the seaweed just, is it just this like wet texture? And it's like, is seaweed sweet like this? Like, right. No, there's probably some sort of sauce that's on it that probably has sugar in it. It's like, okay, break it down. If I'm just looking at my bowl or looking at my meal, I'm like, not too bad.
Right.
So now I will have a dessert because look at my dinner.
Right.
It's like, well, no, think of how much sugar you had in these secret compartments of your meal. It's like, no, you don't have a dessert, or you don't have, or at least be aware, yes, I had this stuff. It's like, unless you are making it and understanding what even the ingredients are in what you are making, it's hard to know where the pitfalls are. What oils are they using? Where are they putting sugar in it? Where are they, mixing different sauces in that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, the base of it looks fine, but like, I was like, no, don't be stupid.
Yeah, don't.
It's like, it
try
tastes
to make
good.
yourself feel better.
There's probably something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like, what's a restaurant's job to do? It's to make food that tastes good, and to do that, it's a ton of oil, probably not great oil, butter. They butter the shit out of everything, salt, sugar. Like, they're putting everything in and on these things to make things taste good. They're not trying to be healthy. Even the ones that claim to be healthy, they're not. It's like they have to try to get people to come back. And if you have a shitty meal, if you do a legit like salad that you make at home that doesn't have any of that crap in it, it's like, it's not as good as the one you get at the restaurant. And that's for a reason. So it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like, whenever going to a restaurant, I'm like, this isn't good for me. I don't care if I get the salad. It's like, it's shit lettuce. It's chicken that's probably cooked in crazy ass stuff and whatever seasonings or sauce that's on there. Like, none of this is going to be what you make at home that's going to be really good for you. Like, their job is to make it taste really good. It's not to bring health to you, even though it says it's a nice salad, garden salad or whatever. It's like, it's just not, it's not the case.
Yeah.
So sure, you can maybe pick a healthier option at a restaurant, but to kind of like what you're saying, people go like, well, I had the salad, so then I can have the cake, and then I can have 2 or 3 drinks. And like, honestly, it wasn't that bad of a night. I ate pretty good. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Not at all. And that is where a lot of danger happens. And same with like at home.
It's like that's what I say with the process stuff. Like, it's not that obvious. It's not just, oh, I don't eat at McDonald's, so I don't eat processed. It's like, no.
Yeah. Well, it's like the people that make salads at home and then they douse it in ranch or they douse it in French dressing or whatever. And it's like, look at the bottle of that. How many ingredients do you actually even know that's labeled in that? And how much sugar is in it or how much fat is in it? Like, and just going off of what we were talking about, like, there's no fiber in that. So the more carbohydrates or sugar that's in that, like, the more that is just going to run through your system. That it's those tiny little things. And people go, oh, I had a nice salad at home. It's like, well, you had lettuce and like maybe some beans or nuts or something, but then you just drenched it all in ranch dressing. It's like, that's not a great salad. Unfortunately, like, you're having a ton of calories and a ton of fat, but that's probably the worst part of it, is you think you're doing what you should be doing. So then
what's the other behavior surrounding that isn't calculating for that? It's like when you spend cash.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get to see an actual number in your bank account. So you're like, oh, I didn't spend it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you did. And now you're thinking, oh, I can just spend more because I didn't spend anything. It's like, just because you don't see it or it's not obvious doesn't mean it's not happening.
Well, and you're going like, I had a chicken salad for lunch every single day this week. Like, I'm fine to, have a little less great of a lunch or breakfast. Like, I'll stick with my bagel and cream cheese for breakfast because I'm trying to, do this slowly. And it's like, well, but your salad even in the middle of the day is not good.
Yeah.
And it's being sabotaged by, a dousing of dressing. It's like, it's hard. I get it's hard, but I don't know. I like to try to keep to the simple rules of just like, look at the ingredients. How many of them do you even know? So if it's got a bunch of ingredients you don't even know, just avoid it. Stay away from it.
Well, I mean, even think of that, like.
And does it come from the earth? Like, I don't care if your fucking protein bar says all these great things of macros and whatever. It's like, this thing is ultra processed. Things don't grow out of the ground in a chocolate tube. You know, like, this isn't going to get you healthy. It's fucking this.
Right.
Like, it's a plant. It's apples, oranges, vegetables, you know, meat. It's like nuts, things that actually grow, not
and that's where
something
I would,
made in a lab.
I'd push it even further. It's like, if you're even needing to look at ingredients.
Oh, totally.
It's like,
that's something we've talked about too. If like you go to the grocery store and you go get apples, you don't have to look at an ingredients list.
right. Now that's where you get to the nitty gritty of, oh, well, what's being sprayed on this, or what plastic is on it, or, you know, the rice. Like, you're going to look at the ingredients, it's just going to say rice. It's not going to say sprayed with folic acid isn't going to fuck up your hormones.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to tell you that.
Right.
But, like, again, that is the next step.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's the nitty gritty. And
looking at ingredients, it's processed. If there is an ingredient to be listed,
right,
it's processed.
Yeah.
Like, that's how silly, I guess. It's like, just make it sound like extreme, but it's like when we say processed foods, we're not talking about you going to McDonald's. We're talking about that.
Yeah, stuff even in the grocery store. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's sweet potato chips. It's like, those are chips. That's not the way that sweet potato is even supposed to be eaten. Mm-hmm. It's probably got a bunch of sunflower oil or salt or whatever. It's like, you have to look at it. That's why I'm really out on dairy. And it's not because I think it's bad for you. I think the dairy that we get to choose from in the grocery store just sucks.
Sure.
Like the milk, the yogurt, the cheese, it's all just junk. It's all just a waste of calories because it's everything that's good about it is taken out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if you were to go get apples, but they completely took all of the vitamins and minerals and good stuff, the fiber out of it, and went like, here's apples. It's like, well, I'm eating something that is giving me no benefit.
Right.
To where I think people go, oh, dairy has got a lot of protein and this and that. It's like, it doesn't have that much protein, for one. And what's the flip side or consequence of it? Sure, you may be getting some protein, but you're kind of just getting a ton of calories for a little bit of protein. Like, everything in it is basically dead besides a little bit of protein and then, like you said, sugar that's in it. So it's like, well, this isn't worth it.
That's what I think is unfortunate about, like, not to get complainy, but that's my favorite thing to do, is like, we praise convenience a lot. That in the ways that it is convenient for us, which is awesome that we have the ability to have convenient things and we have the ability to go to the grocery store and find whatever we want. And even further, that we have the ability to go to the grocery store and things could be prepped for you, or things could be cut up, or, you know, whatever, already made. And then you just have to heat it up in the microwave that you all have in your own house. It's like, we've made it very convenient, but we have not equalized the same praise of doing the work and being connected with what you're putting in your body and what you're serving to your family and what you're buying. That's why they are able to put frickin' wax on the apples. That's why they're able to put folic acid and not have to label half the stuff that they put on our food, or they can not label or list certain ingredients because it's such a trace amount, but it's still there because of our mindset towards food or health or whatever we're doing, because they know that we're not going to question it. Like, they know that,
I think the problem is we've going off of what you're saying, we've made food about enjoyment rather than about fuel. It's, how do I make this taste good, or how do I make this
convenient too?
Convenient. And
because I was thinking about, like, you go to the store and you get cut up apples, or you get cut up, you know, fruit or vegetables. It's like, if you look at that, and they maybe don't have to put it in the ingredients, but like, you think of a cut up apple, it's going to get brown if you cut it at home.
Yeah.
It's like, it's covered in sugar. Like, you look at a apple
why is that staying on the shelf
from like McDonald's? It's not just because it's from McDonald's. Any cut up something it's not going to look like that. It's like you look at a Happy Meal and you get a little apple thing like, oh, great, I'm giving my kids fruit at least. Like, that's covered in sugar. Those could be just as bad as the fries.
Yeah, you can't. It won't stay on the shelf. And that's exactly what you said. Like, you know, if you cut up an apple, it's like a freaking hour later, it's browning.
An hour? I mean, that's...
How is this staying perfectly nice and white and...
And they're not drizzling it with lemon juice to keep it that way.
No. Yeah, we've made food about tasting good, enjoyment, and fun, and all that kind of stuff, rather than what's going to properly fuel us and make us healthy. It's why, and also there's a business behind it of how do we make this stuff last as long as possible so things don't go bad, and that's where the folic acid comes into play. That's where herbicides and pesticides come into play, because if you didn't use those things, our food would go bad quicker. We would not be able to grow as much of it because of bugs and other things happening that we've done, like you said, the convenience or even the business side of it of just producing more and more and more and then having it stay on the shelves longer, that it's not about health. It's about tasting good and money. It's like, that's where you as the consumer have to choose more of the health route rather than this just tastes good. Something my dad always used to say, food is fuel. And I'm sure many other people have said that too, but we don't view it that way. We view it as like, how can I do kind of like the least amount of healthy eating as possible to stay in shape, to get away with it, rather than like, I want my body to perform as best as it possibly can at all times. How do I facilitate that and have that continuously going? Because how many people are getting up to pee 5 times a night? How many people don't sleep well because, you know, they're drinking every night or because they're getting up 5 times to pee every night? How many people have digestive issues and their gut hurts after certain things, or they can't eat certain things, or they're going to the bathroom weird all the time? And, you know, I have knee pain or elbow pain, you know, any joint pain. It's like, yeah, you're not putting the right things in your body to just balance and get rid of all these weird things going on with you. And we've become so okay with getting up to pee 5 times a night.
Yes.
And we just go like, oh, that's just me. That's just my body. It's like, no, it's not. You shouldn't just have knee pain and then have to live with it. That's so stupid.
That's what drives me nuts, because I've fallen into it. I understand how many times I blame shit on like, well, I'm a girl. Like, my hormones are just funky because I'm a girl. Yeah. It's like, okay, 2% of that is true. But even that, it's like, this is the body you have. These are the genetics you have. This is the gender you are. It probably can still work as a little, like, still be efficient. We can still figure out how to not have period cramps. You can figure out how to track what your body is doing and how to supplement it properly or eat certain things so that, oh, well, my hormones, which I could just end it there and be like, well, my hormones suck because I'm a girl. Like, okay, no, your hormones are doing this during this time. Okay, well then bump up these vitamins, or maybe you need to do this type of activity, or maybe you need to drink more water or whatever to then balance it. Like, unfortunately, I shouldn't even say unfortunately, but like, those aren't just one-stop answers. And how many times we hear, it's because I'm a girl, or it's because I'm getting older, and that's why I get up to pee 5 times a night. It's like, that has nothing to do with age.
Yeah.
It's like...
because and how do we know that? We have examples where that's not happening.
Yes.
And it's not genetics. It's not they're special. It's none of that. It's they've done the work.
Or when whole countries are not...
Right. And they're continuously doing the work. And yeah, it's like Gary Brecka was talking about, like, go over to Europe and have pasta and bread and whatever. Like, almost everybody says, I didn't have any digestive issues eating that over there. And he's like, I guarantee it's the folic acid.
Yeah.
It's like, so why are we doing this here? But it's money and it's business. Mm-hmm. And we'll just kind of be like, we've become so much of like, we're fine with that. We'll live with that if it means we get to eat Pop-Tarts every morning.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you can't complain about your joint pain. You're not doing the things you're not trying to find solutions for it. You can't complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how the equation works.
And I think that's where I get annoyed or angry, because I just get annoyed with like me as an individual. It's like I can't complain about how the system is built because they know that they can do that. They know that that's actually what people will buy or want, or the consumer will keep giving them money. Like,
yeah.
So why would they not?
Right. And
why would they not keep spraying shit? Why would they not keep putting secret trace ingredients in things or poisons in it? Yeah. Literally poisons in it.
Yeah.
Because we don't care enough.
Yeah, but then we sit there and go like, why does everybody have cancer?
Why is everybody overweight in this country? Why can't everybody not lose weight? Or why are kids having all these issues? Like, because we're not being self-responsible. Like, we're not being responsible.
And that's
and including myself. Like, I'm not blaming. It's like, I don't know.
Well, and that's where you just have to be, it's like if you're the consumer that basically generates this whole thing. It's like, it sucks because you're hardly ever going to get everybody on board, but it's why you try to do it, because if we purchase these things, that's what businesses are going to do. Like, businesses are also very stupid they're just doing what you're doing. You're pissed about how it's got all this folic acid and all this shit. Well, you're buying what they're selling. Mm-hmm. So go to the other companies that are selling the other things that are better for you. They're going to be able to generate more business, and then all of the other ones are going to go and start doing that. It's like with this whole like grass-fed beef thing. It's like every business is doing that now.
Right.
Because everybody wants to have grass-fed beef.
Yeah.
It's like, so just do that in every step of the way. It's like, why is the middle of the grocery store where all the processed shit is bigger, 2, 3, 4 times as big as the vegetables and the meat and the stuff that's not processed? It's like, because that's what everybody's buying. Everybody's buying the processed shit. So we got to make more room for it to put more on the shelves. Why is there 400 different cereals in the cereal aisle? Because everybody's buying it.
Yeah.
But you only get 2 choices of apples, even though there's how many different types of apples that you could be buying. It's like, that's what people are buying. So you have to go towards if we were all trying to go towards the healthy stuff and get that, the frickin' vegetable aisle and the, fruit aisle would be twice as big. But like you said, we've gone into this convenience culture, and it's just kind of fueling everything. It's why everything is packaged in plastic, and then we wonder why we're getting cancer, and how is it we're eating a credit card size of plastic every, whatever it is. It's like, well, everything you fucking eat is out of a bag.
Right.
It's out of a plastic bag, and our apples are sprayed with wax. And what other vegetables fruits or vegetables are sprayed with wax and bullshit. It's like, it starts to become kind of obvious when you're learning all of these different things, or you're just like taking a step back and being present to all the things that are going on. It's like, well, yeah, it's business. They're just doing what we're buying, so stop buying that stuff, and it's gonna help you become healthier, and then also get rid of all this crap that we're eating. Yeah. Because the businesses will start doing it too.
Well, and that's just where I think it's important to keep pushing the being responsible for your own, like they as in the farmers, the companies that are making food, the government. It's like, it's not their you're not their responsibility.
Yeah, they don't
unfortunately
care about you.
Like, they are all business. It's like, even the farmers, like, yeah, you could say, well, stop factory farming. Who do you think is controlling them? Who do you think is telling them what you need to make? It's like, we'll pull your land unless you produce this amount, or you need to make a living too. Or so they're just doing what is being asked of them.
Yeah, or there's no food on the shelves because everybody's overeating.
Right.
It's like, well, we need to make more. So can you grow more? Can you butcher more chickens? Can you do more beef this year? It's like,
So that's why, like, and not the vegan route or, you know, pushing that at all, because we eat meat and I will continue to, but I think that same message is still positive of just like, look at what you're doing. Analyze how you live, how you eat, what you're purchasing, what companies are you purchasing from. That is where the blame or the, you know, the direction of what needs to change should go to. Is if you just keep blaming other things, but then you keep buying it, or you keep looking for the convenient things, like they're just going to be yes men and give it to you because they just want your money. Right. Like, so I think you have to bring it back to you. And then on top of that, stop complaining about all these issues that you have when you're the cause. I think that's where I get annoyed. It's like, no, it's not because I'm a girl. It's like, sure, that's part of it, but that's not where it ends.
No. And it's a lack of like, you're not trying to find solutions at a certain point. It's like, there's pretty much solutions for everything. You want to be healthy, there's a way to do it. You know how I know? Because people are healthy and you can see them and look at them. There's girls that don't really have bad cramps. Okay, what are they doing? What are they eating? What are they supplementing with? What are they doing? Find out what they're doing and do that. It's like, for every issue you have, there's an example of somebody who doesn't have that issue. So you need to find the solution to that. And it's just having accountability. And it's like what you're saying with, you know, you don't like what this, you know, this company's doing or that company's doing. Well, why do you keep buying their stuff? You know, it's like, there's so much hypocrisy with all of that of like, you know, we're not going to buy this because of, you know, slave labor or whatever, but then everybody's got an iPhone. It's like, you want to know how those are made? Like, go figure that out. Or Nike, how the shoes are made. And it's like, you're just picking a cause because it touched something, but then you're not looking at everything else with it either, or around it. It's like, if you're going to bitch about something, you better have everything else in your life pretty shored up, because like, everybody's like making bad decisions or wrong decisions all the time. So I think when it comes to, they used to do that a lot back in the day. It seemed like, of you as the consumer have a lot of power, and that seems to be kind of gone, or almost like we've forgotten that. That's like, if you want things to thrive, you have to buy those companies. And sometimes it's frustrating because those companies cost more money. It's more expensive to buy this soap that's like way better ingredients and better for you, but do you want to keep
or
fueling
it's just
Dawn?
a lack of the convenience. It's like, how much stuff have we switched to where it's actually cheaper?
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
You just maybe have to do a little bit extra, or put in a little bit more time, or whatever. It's like, I've been surprised with how, like, yes, okay, if we want to get a good water filter, sure, it's gonna be some money, but like, some of the basic things, it is cheaper. It's like, fruit and vegetables and all that, like even food stuff. It's like, the cheapest version of that, if you can, is like, plant your own.
Right.
Seeds are cents.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think for
and if you
someone
can't do
like
that, buy the fruits and vegetables. Those are still cheaper than going and getting the $8 box of cereal.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
But I think it's like, you gotta, I don't know, that, to me, it's like that idea of the consumer having the power just seems to be gone. That I think that'd be something that it could be good to try to bring back and talk about and do. You know, it's like, who's looking, I mean, I went through this looking for Christmas gifts. It's like, it's insane to me how difficult it is to find things that are made in the US. It's fucking crazy. And it's so crazy that things will say made in the USA, and then you go look up where it's manufactured or this or that, and it's like, well, it's actually made in China, but then when it's It gets brought over here, then it's assembled.
We put it in the box.
We put it in the box. It's like, it's so insane to me how little stuff is made in the USA. And it's like, I could sit here and really bitch about that, but the problem is people aren't buying stuff made in the USA. Mm-hmm. So why would there even be a market there for it? It's like, and I've gone 26 years of my life buying shit, not even thinking about that or looking that up. It's like, well, if you want stuff made in the USA, you got to start buying that. If you want people to stop spraying your fruits and vegetables or your grains with a bunch of bullshit, you got to buy the stuff that's not sprayed with it.
Yep.
And show the businesses that this is the market that we want. That's what you have to do, because they're just reacting to whatever you're doing and whatever you're purchasing. So that's kind of my focus with all of it now. It's like, well, I have the power and I'm giving it to a company that I don't like what they're doing every time. Yeah. It's like, that's so stupid. Of course they're going to continue to do more and more and more and then have more power over what they're able to do. It's like, we were all worried about herbicides and pesticides. Like, where the hell did this folic acid shit come from? It's like, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Well, even that's what was really crazy. Like, I really like diving into just the female side of things, because I don't want to be that anymore of like, I'm just a girl and I have all these problems and poor me. Like, that's just so crazy to me. But so it's like, oh, I have these hormonal issues, or what I think are hormonal issues. And it's like, I don't even understand how a period works. I don't understand what hormones do I have? What do they do at what process? Like, I'm 25 years old and I don't understand how what my body does every single month. Every day my body is doing this and I don't understand that. That is crazy to me now. And then on top of that, he talks about the folic acid. It's like, that is what you're prescribed when you get pregnant. He's like, why? And like, that has, for years and years of like prenatal vitamins. Why are none of us looking into that? It's like, you're literally creating your child, and then we don't know what we're taking or understand what is it doing to our body. He's like, oh, you have postpartum depression? None of the hormone reactions that happen with pregnancy are the hormones that elicit depression or anxiety or the stuff that women feel so regularly. He's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the hormones that you're like, there's some things that, you have, an uptake in appetite, or you crave certain like sodium, or you crave certain things. That all makes sense with what's going on. This uptick in postpartum depression, he's like, that doesn't make any sense. Your body doesn't naturally do that. He's like, but what creates that and what triggers the same chemical reaction in your body? Folic acid. The stuff that we're put on and told to take. It's like, why don't we know that?
Right.
And because we're not looking into it.
Yeah, and it's not like conspiracy. It's probably, it's prescribed for some reason, but then there's not the insight or the education of what the side effects of that are going to be. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're trying to trick a bunch of women into getting depressed after. Like, they're not doing that, but they're prescribing it for a reason, and then it's having these side effects. But then we're going, well, I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what sucks, is like, it's the whole stupid, like, you can't trust anything or anybody or what anybody says type of attitude. It's like, you kind of have to take it all into your own hands, because it's like, you really should know what you're putting into your body. Mm-hmm. If you're just taking stuff because somebody said it was good once, it's like, or that you should once, and you don't know what's going on or why you're taking it or what it's for. And then also, like with this folic acid thing, what are the side effects that come with that a lot of the time? And do I want to have to deal with those things? It's like, you have to do this all yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to, unless you're okay with that stuff happening to you. And then not complaining about it, I guess, because
Sure.
I'm like, if you're going to complain about it, well, you didn't, like, you're responsible for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame everybody else when stuff's going wrong with you, because you choose what you put in your body. Nobody forced any food down your throat. Nobody forced pills down your throat. It's like, you have every right to choose what you put in. So it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of the things that are wrong with you is your fault. You have to take control of that. That's the hard, I don't know, hard thing to look at. It's like the hard honesty, the hard truth.
Yeah. But we also want convenience, and that's why we don't want to do that. Like, information is so easy to obtain nowadays. So it's not like, well, I'd love to learn about that, but then I have to go to the library and find books on it. And maybe there isn't even books on it, or they don't have the funding to do that study. So we're just kind of not really sure why this happens.
Yeah.
Like, information is so easy to get that it's just, like, it is hard. It takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes maybe even interest for people to just even do it. But I don't know. I'm just getting so irritated at myself when I'm hearing that. It's like,
yep.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, me either. And that's why I think I'm taking the position of just like, what can I do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I'm sick of like these companies spraying all of our grains with folic acid. Well, I'm going to purchase the things that does not do it too.
Yeah.
It's like, that's going to take a little bit more of me looking up which companies don't do that, or, going organic route and seeing, if it's even true, the organic and what they're doing too. But like, I don't want to.
Well, and I would say, like,
me.
Start with things that are, top of the list important to you. Like, yeah, I would rather what's going to be longer term. So what's going to be in my body, what's going to be on my body, what is already happening in my body with hormones and stuff. Like, what can I do to understand that better? It's like, yeah, I'm sitting on a chair, sitting on a blanket that has a bunch of dyes in it. That's not what I'm going to hang my hat on right away. Like, eventually will I maybe get to that point of really dialing into that and understanding better material and fabrics to have around, but that just isn't pulling at me yet. So I'm going to start with things that I can control right now and change and make adjustments to and learn, because that's just where my interests are at, or where I'm having issues. So if I get my anger up of, I hate being bloated, I hate having these issues, I hate having this pain every day or whatever. Okay, do the work to figure it out. This isn't irking me as much yet.
Yeah. Go after the thing that's of interest right now, and just focus on that and dial that in. And then you'll probably be ready to move on to the next thing anyways. Yeah.
Start slow, but start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel good with this.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. See you next week.